Let's go to John 5 and 6. The question that he asks is, do you want to get well? Now this may seem like a silly question. Why? Because he had been laying there for 38 years wanting to get well. He had been wanting to get into that pool as long as he could remember. He'd been wanting to walk. He'd seen other people walking. He saw people walk by him every single day on their nice, beautiful legs, ungrateful and all that kind of stuff. And he got time to go there. But yes, the answer is, of course he wanted to get well. That seems like a silly question. But is it? Why? Because if we don't want to get well, we won't get well. There's a whole lot of folk who sit in church every single Sunday who raise their hands and worship God and they pray and they read the Bible and they don't want to get well. They want to hang on to whatever their ailment is or whatever their problem is or whatever their circumstance is for whatever reason they have. They really don't want to get well. Now, if you ask them, do you want to be healed? Oh, yeah, I want to be healed. I want to let go of that pain. I want to let go of that misery. I want to let go of that offense. Well, do you really want to get well? That's the question that Jesus is asking. More importantly, I think what he's asking us is, do you want to change? Amen. Do you want to change? That's really what Jesus is asking here. Why? Because this man had never walked before, according to our knowledge, and things would have to change for him. He couldn't just sit on the street anymore and beg for change. He had to get up and get a job. He had to get up and get out and start doing some things with his brand new legs that he had with the life that he had left on this earth. So it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter how long you've been in your circumstance. When God raises you up out of that place, you have got to get busy doing something for Him. Amen. Amen? Do you want to change? You see, really what we want to do, because nobody really wants to change themselves. I like me. Right? We don't really want to change us. Why? Because that requires change. It requires work. It requires a confrontation with who we are. And we don't like that because that makes us think about us. And so really what we want to do is change other people around us to accommodate who we are so that our situation and our circumstance doesn't have to change. But other people change to accommodate us. And well, if other people aren't going to change because of what we like or what we don't like, well then we'll just change the circumstance. We'll just change the situation altogether. Amen? So that's really how the process works. Now here's an interesting statistic. 9 to 1, most people would rather die than change. In a survey given, this is an academic survey by Alan Deutschman, in a survey given, he confronted them with this question. If today you had to change the way you think, the way you act, and he has some other caveats in there, but basically the point was if you had to change who you were today in order to survive or die, would you change? 9 to 1, people wouldn't change. This is who I am. This is how God made me. Take it or leave it, you know. I won't change. 9 to 1, he says. People would not change. They would rather die than change. And you know what? That is exactly what will happen if you don't change. If we don't want to change, if we don't want to get well, exactly what's going to happen is you're going to die in the middle of your circumstance, in the middle of your situation. Why? Because if this guy would have tried to reason with Jesus and say, well, you know, Jesus, I've been here 38 years and I know you just told me to get up and walk, but seriously, I've never walked before, I've never done it, I've never seen it, I've never felt it, so I really don't know what I'm doing, so maybe you should tell me to crawl first, or maybe you should tell me to roll over first. I don't really know. He'd have just died on his mat, folks. He would have just died on that mat, maybe even by that pool, maybe even by that day. Do you want to get well? Do you want to change? You see, we've got to confront what that actually means. We've got to understand what Jesus is really asking us here. Of course we all want to be better. Of course we do. Of course we do. But do we want to change? That is the question that Jesus is asking. 9 to 1, people would rather die. That's why Jesus asked this question. We have to want to get well. And you know what? Most of the time, people don't want to get well until they're at the rock bottom. Until there's nothing left. Until there's nothing else to give. Until there's nothing else to ask. Until there's not, until everything has been stripped away. Most of the time, we don't want to change. Amen? But it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't have to be that way. If we decide within ourselves to believe who God is and to understand what He's asking us here, we can change without having to hit rock bottom. Amen? We can change in the flow of things while God is stirring the waters. We can change. John chapter 5 verses 7 through 8. This is the part where He tells him to get up and to walk. What Jesus is asking him to do is something he has not done for 38 years. This just does not make sense to me. Get up and walk. Okay. How do you do that? You just do it. You just get up and you just walk. Jesus is asking him to do something that he hasn't done for 38 years. Interesting. Because it seems like to me, on the backside of the story, that Jesus is saying that greater things are yet to come, then it's going to require of us to do something that maybe we have never done or haven't done for a very long time. Amen? We've got to think about something different. We have to be different. We've got to try something different. When Jesus says, get up and walk, you just get up and you walk. If Jesus is calling you to teach, you just start teaching. If He's calling you to sing, you just start singing. If He's calling you to go into the streets and talk to people about Jesus, you just go and you talk to people about Jesus. That's what you do. He will show you the way. Once you get up and you take up your mat and you start to walk, He will show you where to go. He will show you what to do. He will tell you what to say. He'll tell you what to think. He will do all that for you. Just get up and walk. Do something different. If you do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. You've heard that before. I just don't understand why things are different. I prayed hard. I don't understand why this isn't different. This circumstance hasn't changed at all. Well, are you doing the same thing you've always done? Then you're getting everything you've always gotten. Mm-hmm. Change it up. Yes. Do something different. Try another way. Yes. Ask God to show you something different. Let Him lead you into a different direction. Why? Because most often when we get stuck in that circumstance, it's because we are stuck in that circumstance. Amen? It's not that God is not capable. It's not that He's not willing. It's not that He's not ready and He's not present and He's not there. It's just that we get stuck. Amen?